Welcome, friends. It is I, LostScarf, and it's time for spoiler talk for X-Men Apocalypse. Quick question. Those of you who have beards and you shave, do you feel cold when you shave? Because I feel cold after shaving. I was in an interview. I'm cold. I have like 3 different tan lines. That's a thing. Alright, so X-Men Apocalypse. Let's do a quick non-spoiler talk about it really quick. X-Men Apocalypse is like, what, the 6th, 7th, 8th movie in X-Men? It's, pretty good. I don't know how the hell it is Rotten Tomatoes 47%. It is actually not that bad. I liked it. It's superior to Batman vs. Superman. Inferior to Civil War, in my opinion. At the end of the day, it is opinions, and I feel that Batman vs. Superman just was not very good. I feel like Civil War was really good. Not without sin, of course. There are little plot holes here and there. And that X-Men is somewhere in between those, where they had some really good moments and some not-so-great moments, and some weird things that maybe don't make any sense. But for the most part, it made a lot more sense than Batman vs. Superman, but maybe not as well executed as, I will say, Civil War, but it was still a really good movie. I have no clue how the hell it's 47%. I'm thinking like a 70, maybe an 80. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a good movie. Batman vs. Superman was an okay movie. Civil War was a great movie. Like, that's how I feel about it when you gotta rank all those things like that. But it's, Apocalypse is here, and he's, if you know for the comics, he's a very bad dude. He's the first mutant, caused a lot of bad situations, and he does that in this movie. And you just learn a little bit about a lot of characters as you go through it, as Apocalypse is trying to, well, be Apocalypse, just kill everybody and then make his rule, and he has his 4 horsemen. I'm going from what you see in the trailers, so there's nothing really being spoiled here. He's got his 4 horsemen in the Apocalypse. It's Magneto, it's Psylocke, it's Archangel, and it is Storm. And then he's got himself, and he's got his plot that he's gonna, just F the planet up so he can rule. And that's what's happening here in the story. And a lot of pretty good character interactions, a lot of really good powers getting thrown around, special effects and everything. And it's a pretty good movie. It's way more coherent than Batman vs. Superman. Way more coherent. So I don't really know why it's so low. It is a good movie. It is definitely a good movie. You get everyone's motivations. 1 or 2 characters like, really? Why are they? Maybe not so much them. What the hell's going on with them? But for the most part, every character, their motivations are pretty clear. They're built very well. You get to explore characters a little bit. I get why maybe people complain about the villain, because they're like, he's just a straight up villain. He's just a bad guy. He's not complex. That's fine. Sometimes bad guys are just bad. They don't really have these big motivations to them. And if you really want to spend the half an hour on that, well, then go ahead, I guess. But I don't really think it would have flowed well in this movie, since it's this ensemble cast doing things. And it was pretty good. I just think it was good. And I will say the actors everyone's concerned about, they did a good job. I didn't feel like they did a bad job. Problem with, of course, Sansa from Game of Thrones is she's always crying, and the only scene you see from the trailer is her crying. So she's Sansa with telepathy. That's who she is, and that's pretty cool. There, she does a good job, and Storm for her little bits does a good job. Everyone does a good job. I don't think no one does a bad job. I feel like everyone did a good job in this movie. Now, let's go ahead and one more thing as far as non-spoiler talk. Quicksilver Avengers, Quicksilver, and X-Men. Avengers, of course, if you've seen the second movie, it was underutilized. And what was it? Futures Past, Days of Futures Past, he was pretty good in it. And he's used a little bit more in this movie, and he's really good in it. He's really good. Quicksilver is amazing. I really like that character. They did a very good job with him. Now for the spoiler talk. So this is about talking about things that were not in the trailer that maybe you didn't know. If you've seen the movie, like I implore you, if you've seen the movie, keep going with this video. If you haven't seen the movie, come back. See the movie, then come back. If you don't care at all, then go ahead and keep watching this video. What was interesting about this movie was just, it's 10 years later and you get to see how people have developed. And just what's happened with characters. We see that the Xavier School is getting built up even more. Or it's actually built up now, and he's got students, and his plan of wanting to have humans and mutants in the same school is very interesting, because I don't think they've ever done that. As far as I know, that's never been an idea, unless I've just never seen that in the cartoons or the comics. I don't remember that idea. But his concept of everyone just being together is a pretty cool idea for Xavier. His motivation is, we have peace. We are doing all right. There's still going to be racism, but I'm working slowly to make the future possible. That's one of the big players. The other big player, of course, is Mystique, and Mystique is like, nope, they're still pretty racist to us, and they're effing over a lot of mutants right now. You're not really doing much about it, and Xavier isn't doing much about it. He's gathering what he can where he is, but he's not going across the world like Mystique is saving people. And that's a failing on Xavier's part for sure. But then you also have Apocalypse. Apocalypse's motivations is simple. He wants to rule again because he used to rule. That's a simple motivation there, not really complex. That's all he is going on there. And you have Magneto. Magneto's motivations. He has a family. He has a wife and a kid. He's moved on. He's just trying to be peaceful. What is frustrating for him, of course, is he saved someone's life, and by saving someone's life, it screws him over. He tries to do the good guy route, just living his life. He saves someone's life, realizes, oh, that's not good. And then it gets his family killed. His wife and kid get killed because some dink of a cop just let loose an arrow he gets surprised and just lets it go, and it freaking kills both of them. By the way, holy crap, 2 with 1 kill right there. You knew they were gonna die. I felt like that was gonna be obvious, that his wife and kid were gonna die. Once they showed up, I'm like, oh, they're gonna kill his kids to give him motivation. You could see it. You could definitely see that was coming. And it happens. They're dead. That sucks. They both get killed with 1 arrow. That is, amazing for a dink shot to kill both of them. But by doing that, Magneto just instantly, easily dispatches everyone with a locket, right? I'm just jumping through the movie right here. Just talking about characters. He shows just how good he is. If he really wanted to, he could have killed everyone. But because he's trying to go a better way, he doesn't. He lets them arrest him. But then, of course, his wife and kid gets killed, so everyone dies instantly, and it was pretty damn good. That was very well done. The special effects are amazing. Just really good special effects in this movie. Magneto centers a lot of it, and just a lot of things going on. Maybe we should run down the movie. So we start out with Apocalypse. We start out with where he's at. He's in the past, like 30,000 years ago. We see how he gets his powers, how that works. I have no idea how Apocalypse gets his powers in comics. I don't know the original bit of Apocalypse. All I know from Apocalypse is games that has him in it, and like later comics, like in the 2000s. I don't know his origin story, so I actually do not know if that's really how he gains his powers. Does he just do body transfers over and over again and gain powers? That I don't know. I have no idea of that. All I know about Apocalypse is Cable versus Apocalypse. I'm a fan of Cable. Cable F's him up all the time. There's even a point where Cable brings him back to get the X-Men centered by having them fight Apocalypse again, because Cable's that kind of guy. And so that's all I know of Apocalypse. He's just a strong dude that gets owned by Cable. That's all I know about him. But he's the first mutant. He has a lot of powers. Like, he's a lot of powers, and we see that in the movie. But we see that he amplifies a lot of people's power. So I'm wondering if that's his original power, the power to amplify people, which would get them to follow him, which would be interesting. But what's weird about him is, so we see how he gets screwed over. And we see how fanatical his people are to keep him alive, and they do a good job of keeping him alive. He does not get crushed, which I don't even know if that would mean anything at all, since he's going into a healer body anyway. I think they were just trying not to disturb his apparatus so that he could be resurrected. But in the end, they do fail in doing that. They get defeated. And it's a very interesting setup they have for beating him by destroying the pyramid, just bringing it down on him. Pretty good plan. How did they build that with no one noticing? That's the question I got right there, which could be a plot hole, is they build this really elaborate just how to destroy a pyramid and kill Apocalypse, or Abin Sur is his name, right? How to kill him. They had this complex thing to take him down. How did they do that with no one noticing that would tell Apocalypse? That's really the question there. But they did. They pulled it off, and that happens. Quick thing, though, is how those soldiers get destroyed. They just get melted. I'm surprised this is an R-rated movie. I'm surprised it's not a PG-13 movie, because holy crap, people just die all over the place in this movie. I'm surprised it's not rated R, just for people just getting murder-rated. We see just people get buried alive. We see quite a few beheadings here. We see a lot of just deaths in this movie. We see, Wolverine, I just mentioned it now. Wolverine just goes to town on people, and it's still rated PG-13. I'm surprised he got through on that. Just on the theme of just murdering a lot of people in that movie. But that's the whole setup, that he's got people willing to sacrifice themselves for him. And then we, let's see what happens next. Then we get to see a little bit of Magneto, a little bit of Mystique. Mystique saving people, saves Nightcrawler, and probably other mutants, maybe. Nightcrawler accidentally, messes up Archangel there. Archangel's apparently a really good fighter, and Never really got that impression of him. In the comic version, of course, he's he's a rich boy and all that stuff. In the movie version of him, he's just a punker. He's a punk kid who can fight really well, and somehow he destroys Blob, which is weird because Blob's supposed to be like indestructible, right? Blob can handle getting beat the crap out of, but apparently in this movie, Blob can't handle it. He gets his butt kicked, and then Nightcrawler, in fear, just trying not to get killed, F's up Archangel, which is a surprise. But he doesn't F him up, he just burns his wings like, oh crap, and he gets out of there. And they have the rematch later on in the movie, but we saw that going on, and there's CIA stuff going on. We see Sir gets brought back, and you could complain about that. Just, really, this entire pyramid got kind of wrecked, but it still was able to bring him back. And for movies, you need to have some conveniences, and that's another convenience you kind of have to have. I don't know what could have been done better, but maybe after they had the convenience of the pyramid getting destroyed, maybe they needed a different way of having him getting woken up than the convenience of sunlight on the thing. When you think about it, maybe there could have been a better way for it. I think I'm trying to find why people hated this movie. I think there's little things here and there, but I think it was good enough as a package that it's fine. I think the acting was really good in this movie. I did not dislike anything. Maybe Storm's accent wasn't that great. Like, when people were doing accents, maybe it wasn't that good. But the movie as a whole was pretty good. Pretty damn good. Well acted and everything. But Apocalypse is back, and he's just walking around trying to figure things out. And he walks into Storm. He sees that Storm's mutant. He's like, oh, good, the mutants aren't all gone. That's great. That's very important. And then somehow interfaces with a TV and is able to gain all knowledge. What mutant power gives you that ability? What mutant power gives you that ability right there? That's a very interesting thing, but it's just, maybe, I don't know if it's better to not explain it, or to explain that he's able to gain all knowledge by putting his hand on a TV, which makes, of course, no lick of sense. This entire movie doesn't really take any steps to explain Apocalypse. He's just a super-powered guy with a lot of powers, and you're just supposed to just accept the powers he has with no idea what's going on. And that might be a misstep there, not having any explanation of who Apocalypse is and what powers he has, or just what he is for real. Like, there's no real understanding of what Apocalypse is in this movie. He's just a villain that shows up and gets killed at the end. That's really what he is, which is too bad. He's not going to be a memorable villain, which might be a pretty good complaint about the movie, is he's not a memorable villain. The memorable villain is Magneto, that's for sure. And he's one of the Horsemen, so he does his job there. And just, Apocalypse not so great when you think about it. I thought he was acted well by Poe Derek from Star Wars. Yeah, I thought he was acted pretty well by him. But, Apocalypse ain't so great, but I don't think that's enough to ding the movie. I think he did his job as a villain. He just, in a time when we just really want to explore villains more, he's not very well explored, and I think that can be a failing. It definitely is. But not enough for me to say it's a bad movie. I don't know how the hell. I still can't get over it's 47% right now. I just can't. But it was a good movie. Going forward, let's see, Xavier. Oh no, but we got Cyclops. How his powers are showing up, and Havoc's like, oh, so that we got something in common because he's Scott's brother. What's interesting is there's 3 brothers in the family. You have Havoc, Cyclops, and then Virgil. I think his name is right, Virgil. And Virgil's like a space thing, if I remember correctly. And then, of course, Cyclops' dad is Starjammer, right? Dude in the Starjammers, if I remember correctly. Is that the wrong name for that group? But in the movies right now, it's just 2 of them, and it looks like their parents are just regular people, so maybe they're just mutants born out of just regular mutant being born there. Or was Virgil Cyclops' son? I can't remember. I can't remember if Virgil Cyclops... No, I think Virgil Cyclops' brother. Because his son, of course, is Cable. I don't think he had any other kids besides Cable. Or I am totally wrong because it's been way too long since the comics. You can correct me that in the comments for sure, which one I have wrong there. But at least Havoc and Cyclops, we got them there. You get to see him develop his powers a bit. And how did that jock not get killed? How did that bathroom door survive an optic blast? Like... There's a couple little stretches here and there in the movie, and that's one of them, that he's doing optic blast, and somehow it does not kill the jock. Somehow does not destroy the bathroom. we see the jock move, which was a step by them to show that he's still alive, that he didn't get killed by Scott. Which is key if you want your movie to be, PG-13, not R. Killing so many people, you don't want them to also kill a jock, so they didn't kill a jock there. High schooler, I think, is the more important thing they're thinking there. But, yeah, Scott's powers show up. He goes to Xavier's school. That's how we get introduced to Xavier's school, is through Cyclops. And I think they had a good amount of humor, just a little bit of humor in the movie, which was enough. It really helped out. When they see Cyclops' powers, and Xavier's like, my grandfather, when he was 5, planted that tree. I swung from that tree. That is my favorite tree. I love that tree. Like, that was my favorite tree. You destroyed my favorite tree. And Cyclops like, so, am I expelled? Like, no, it's alright, it's okay. You just destroyed my favorite tree. I really like that joke. I just liked that was such an important tree to Xavier, and now it's gone. And we get Xavier doing his rhetoric of, there's good in you, there's also, you have these powers, and right now they're scary, but eventually you get control of them and you do better. We see that again with Jean, because of the Phoenix trying to wake up in her, or she's just battling the Phoenix inside her. And he's like, yeah, you got powers in you, but you don't need to be scared of it. You can get control of it. Don't worry. You can get control over it. Like, he's doing the same rhetoric with, I think, everyone, because he feels like that's just the best way to say it. And probably what he believes as well is that if people can control their powers, then they won't, harm people horribly, is what he's thinking. Because that's usually kind of how it would be. Like, if you have very dangerous things, not knowing how to use it is bad. Knowing how to use it is good, because then you know how to not F everyone up with it. So he's giving good advice. Definitely giving good advice. Because in this version of things, he trained Magneto as well, or he helped Magneto hone his skills. He helped everyone get better at their thing. That's what Xavier does. Apocalypse does the same thing, which is why some people really like him. Like, Storm believes in him because not only is he a mutant, but he's given her a level up boost. Same thing goes for Psylocke. He's given her a level up boost. And then he gives a level up boost to freaking Archangel. And he does boost Magneto, where he's like, you can do more than just move metal. You have magnetism. You can pull the metal in the earth, because there's plenty of elements in the earth, yeah. Which he does. And very quickly we see him just gather his minions, his members, his 4 horsemen, which I think was fine. Just, I think I like that the pieces are moving in place on their own. We have the 4 horsemen getting put together. At the same time, Xavier is trying to figure out what's going on. And then, of course, you also have not really a subplot, but on the side you have what's going on is the teenagers just being teenagers. And it might have been a good choice not to spend too much time on the teenagers, because, not everyone likes teenagers. So, good on that, I guess. But we get to see enough Nightcrawler to like Nightcrawler, and we get to see his powers do pretty well. And they get Xavier, just going through big scenes here. All the nukes get shot out. That was an interesting scene. I'm like, oh crap, is he just going to destroy the planet now? No, he just nukes the sky because he doesn't want to deal with nukes. Good job on Apocalypse there, just sending all the nukes into the sky. Doesn't have to deal with that. But then, of course, the school gets captured, and the school gets blown up again. The school gets blown up again. It gets blown up every freaking movie, doesn't it? Like, the only movie that didn't get blown up was like First Class, right? I think only First Class, it doesn't get destroyed. And you can't really count the Wolverine movies because he's not there at the school, but it gets destroyed way too often. Way too often. But Quicksilver steals the movie with that scene, when he saves literally everyone but Havoc because he got there too late. That scene was amazing. That was really good. Of course, you can go like, why aren't the people in motion while things are happening? This is a good question. I think if you think about it when you watch the movie, everyone's standing still as explosions are coming and he's saving everybody. They're only moved by the explosion moving them. You see people running from the explosion's still happening, but they're not actually moving, they're just standing still. And that's kind of a physics mistake right there. He should be, while there should still be in motion as he's saving them, since the explosions are in motion too. I would say, I think that might be a continuity kind of thing going. I don't know if continuity is the right word, but you realize that it's like, they're just standing still when they are running. They should be moving a little bit as time is moving, as Quicksilver's saving everybody. But that's the negative to it. The positive to it is, holy crap, that scene's amazing. He just saves and saves and saves and saves. He saves everyone except Havoc, unfortunately. That's what I noticed. The second he gets there, and he grabs Beast first, that meant either Havoc was already in the explosion, or he didn't notice Havoc because the explosion was about to take him or something. He just doesn't notice Havoc. Either because he was already dead by the time he got there, or because he just saw Beast first. I'm going to assume he was consumed already, having just seen the movie like an hour ago. I can't remember, obviously, but he saves everyone. It's really cool how he saves everybody. And he does like quick things like puts someone in the matches and throws them out, throws some people towards some sheets to catch them, sets people to get exploded into the water. That is really good quick thinking and just fast moving by Quicksilver, which was great. That was pretty cool. Just great scene there. And every scene with him from that point on is pretty good. Because like when they're captured and they're all yelling and he's yelling too, just for some reason, you hear him a little bit more, and it's just funny when he's talking too. I found it interesting. I also found it interesting that he did not he did not tell Magneto he's his son. I thought he was going to tell him and that would calm Magneto down. That's where it's kind of interesting. I figured Quicksilver showing up at the end of the movie would be telling Magneto he's his son, so Magneto goes, I still have family, I have a kid, maybe I should think about this instead of killing everybody. Because he still has one kid at least. He still has some family. And there's a chance maybe he realizes Quicksilver's his son, because there was hints about it 10 years ago in Days of Futures Past. And I feel like Mystique kind of hinted about it a little bit as well. It just felt like it. Just skipping to the end when they're both talking to Magneto, when it's Quicksilver and Mystique talking to Magneto, it really felt like he got enough hints that he probably knows he's his son. Maybe. Or it's just, hey, it's that kid again. That kid whose mom I was with oh god. Just kind of like that. Maybe he got the hint. I'm not sure. I'm going to assume he did. But he's not willing to share it because it's for Quicksilver to bring up first. But maybe he just didn't notice it. But I think he did. Just going back and forth on that. But back to, let's see, Quicksilver. Stryker shows up. Freaking Stryker. Everyone hates Stryker. Who doesn't hate Stryker? Captures the main people, takes them, and then, like I said, Quicksilver talking. Question, and I think you just have to fill in the blanks yourself. So, Jean, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler are on the helicopter. They don't get caught. They can't use their abilities, but they don't get caught. I'm going to assume that when the helicopter landed, they turned off the shield, and then she was able to hide them again. But she didn't try to just take everyone over right there and then just save them now. They decided to let them get taken away, and then they came out after, I suppose. Or they found a place to hide. I'm assuming it's the first one. That the shield just went down, they were able to hide themselves. Kind of surprised they don't just have a field in the entire facility to turn off powers. Unless that's just too much power, too expensive, maybe that's what it is. I think I did skip over the Cerebro scene. I mentioned the nuke part, but just Cerebro scene was pretty cool. Just seeing... McAvoy's an amazing actor. I really think he's a good actor. I think everyone did a good job in this movie. You know how I like to emphasize facial expression and body movement and just physically characters showing what they feel and what they think, not just with their words, but with their body and their face and everything. And McAvoy does an amazing job in the whole movie. He just looks like just whatever he's going through very well. When Apocalypse is in his head, for a moment he's got this face of, oh my god, this power is amazing. And then he switches to, oh crap, this is not a good thing that's happening right now to me. And you see that on his face. He doesn't really say it until later on, like when it's like, destroy the thing, disconnect Cerebro already. Like, he doesn't really say it too fast. Like, he's in the power, he's in horror, and then he's in just fear and desperation in a way. He's like, oh crap, this is not good. And he did a good job. We see the same thing with Magneto. The look of pain on his face, of course, when he lost his family. The look of distraught on him pretty much throughout the whole thing. He's very, not really broody, but he's very a distraught character throughout the whole thing. He's like, I tried to do it your way, tried to do it the good guy way, and my family's dead. I almost said my parents are dead. My family's dead, so I'm going to just kill everyone because I'm tired of this crap. And their interactions are always good. Magneto and Xavier interactions are always really good. I like that. And I don't know why people hate Jennifer Lawrence so much. Maybe personal stuff with her, I don't know. I thought she acted very well. She did a good job of looking like she was getting choked out, and she has a good job of looking like, not, I wouldn't say a badass, but a good fighter. Like, I don't know if I want to call her badass. I think she's something else. I don't know if I'd want to say badass. Like she's like that cool character, but not the badass character. She's a cool character. She gets things done, but I don't think badass when I think Jennifer Lawrence. I think maybe not anti-hero, but like the hero that doesn't want to be a hero. I don't remember what that term is, but she's that. She's the not unlikely hero, the hero that doesn't want to be the hero, the one that doesn't think they are, but people look up to. She's like she's always that character, and I think she does it well with that kind of broody face she does. I think she acts pretty well. I think she does. Dude playing Beast, can't remember his name. I think he did a good job. I think everyone did a good job. Everyone did a good job in what they had to do. They were believable to me. I do wish maybe the one problem is the Four Horsemen are really underutilized. We see Archangel do a little bit, and that's about it. And by the way, Archangel getting his wings, I was like, are you shitting me? Really? Like, we see Apocalypse sink people into things, but he just manifests metal on Archangel, which, that's a curious power. He can just manifest elements or something. He just puts freaking metal on he turns his wings into metal wings. He gives him a metal suit. He just does stuff to Archangel. We get, like, nothing out of Archangel. We just get that he's, like, a punker. He's, like, maybe not really a punker, but he's just he's a rough kid. Like, he's a rough English kid. That's all we got. I'm assuming English here. Maybe we'll go with European kid. He's a rough European kid, got the leather jacket and everything. He's a fighter. There you go. He's one of the Lost Boys, probably the best way to put it. And now he's got metal wings, and he can F people up with them, and he does a little bit with them, and then he dies. Psylocke, she's got these cool, the psi weapon stuff she does. She's not really a ninja, she's just a really cool looking fighter. She cuts a car in half, she lassos Beast, she uses her psi thing to not fall to her death, so she does a little bit, but underutilized. I feel like maybe one of the biggest complaints, because I haven't seen any reviews. I haven't seen reviews. I'm trying to figure out what the complaints are. Maybe one of the big complaints is all the villains are just underutilized, except Magneto, probably. Because there's enough on him, we have enough past of him, and we get enough motivation from him in this movie to understand where he's coming from throughout the movie. Storm, we get a little bit of it. Like, we only get a little bit for the other three horsemen, so I feel like they could have been utilized more. Storm does a little bit. I think they do enough with her to understand her character for what's going on, but it's Storm, and you wish there was more with Storm. You wish there was more Psylocke. You wish there was more with Archangel, but there isn't a lot with them. And there's not even a lot with Apocalypse, really. But what I liked about the final fight, which, should I skip to that right now? Let's see here. Yeah, let's go back to the Wolverine scene before that. The Wolverine scene in the X program, Weapon X, Wolverine goes nuts, just kills a bunch of people and gets the hell out of there. I like it. I like that that's all they did with Wolverine. I like that he didn't... I was like, I'm like, it's cool to see Wolverine. He's wrecking things. Is he going to join them and help them fight Apocalypse? I'm like, I hope he doesn't. I hope he just runs off and he doesn't help them fight, that he's too much in his feral state to do anything. Because I want to see what these guys can do without Wolverine. Because Wolverine, of course, would steal the show because everyone loves Wolverine. Or everyone hates Wolverine. He'd steal the show either way. But they utilized him enough. He was only there for that one scene. Really cool cameo scene. Great to see Hugh Jackman again. He's out of there. There you go. And then they go ahead and save everybody, and that was great. Nice, funny scene with the 3, 2, 1 with Nightcrawler's hands. He's like, 1, 2, 3, all my hands. Because he only has 3 fingers. There's the stuff with Nightcrawler's pretty good. And what I do like about Cyclops and Jean is that they're being friends and they're getting close, but they're not there already. Like, they're not already there. Like, movies usually, there has to be a love story somewhere in there. And there were 2 almosts. Jean and Cyclops are getting there, but they're not there yet, which I think should be it. And Xavier and Moira, like, he's like, oh hey, just giving you back those memories of us wanting to hook up, but we didn't. Sorry about erasing those memories, my bad on that. And so that was a nice moment for them too. That's at the end of the movie, of course. They get the program. Stryker unsurprisingly gets away because Stryker's important for later. Because Stryker is freaking Stryker. Of course, we're in a new timeline, so they could have killed Stryker if they wanted. They didn't, though. Going forward, that's the whole Apocalypse thing. What was it? Okay, the big apocalypse speech to the world, and then the strong protect the weak. Like, for anyone hearing this speech, you're like, why the hell did that last part happen? That sounded weird. And you knew he had to say the message in there, like, but it just sounds weird. What I liked is that he's also doing a hidden message to Jean at the same time, which is great. That's cool. And I also like that he's so important. That Xavier is so important because if Apocalypse has the power to mind control people and just see what is going on in everyone's head, he'll never get betrayed again. And that's a pretty good point right there. And that raises the stakes and makes Xavier very important. It's not just stopping. It's very interesting that the center of things wasn't stopping Apocalypse through Magneto. So not stopping Magneto from destroying everything. That was the thing that needed to be done, but it was also do not allow him to get Xavier, because if he gets Xavier, it's over. So it was interesting to have those two dilemmas, but I think they kind of just they just eat each other's ground a little bit, is the way to put it. Like, there's two big stakes happening at once, but we kind of ignore this big stake because the Xavier stake's happening. Is kind of what happens there, and maybe it wasn't done well enough, I'll say, with that. Could have been done better, maybe. One thing is, special effects freaking amazing the entire movie. Magneto just doing his magnetic field thing to the entire planet looked really cool. Question is, we see all this crap floating around, even around him, and we saw all this crap get moved around earlier. Why isn't it not still getting moved around now, when everyone's fighting? Like, there's a big-ass car of metal right here. Why isn't that getting pulled towards Magneto if he's magnetizing the whole damn planet? He's still doing it while these fights are happening. So that did feel weird to me. It's like, how are they able to fight on solid ground if Magneto is doing this magnetism stuff at the same time? Or was he getting stalled by Mystique and Quicksilver? That's the only explanation I can give, that not everything's rumbling around during those fights. Which wasn't a bad fight. Now, there might be complaint that there wasn't enough fighting. That is a valid complaint, but is X-Men nothing but fighting? I don't think so. X-Men goes through themes of racism, goes through themes of heroism and villainy, and themes of, you got what Magneto's going through. He's a guy who believes in his side. For his side of things, he's the hero. He's not a villain at all. But he tried to do things Xavier's way, and it didn't work out. And now he's back to just wanting to kill everybody again and being the superior again. You got his motivation. There's a lot of things going on in this movie. It's not just this straight up action movie. There wasn't a lot of action in it. There's some nice special effects throughout it, but it wasn't a big action movie until the end, where a lot of special effects happen with all the things happening with Apocalypse. The only real fight in the entire movie is Apocalypse. Anyone else have a fight in this movie? Nightcrawler versus Archangel round 1. Archangel gets injured. Nightcrawler versus Archangel round 2. Archangel gets trapped. Then you have Psylocke versus Beast, which seems like Beast should not win that fight whatsoever. Luckily, Psylocke apparently likes to play with her fight, because she gets Beast in the whip, and then she's gonna finish him off, but she gets him close enough that he's able to knock her off of him, and then they're fighting some more. You figure Beast would just die instantly. Luckily, he does not, because I don't think that was the right fight for him, but who else is gonna fight him? Figured you'd maybe help Nightcrawler with Archangel or something, I don't know, but that's the fight that happened, and luckily he didn't get killed there. It was a weird mismatch of powers there, I think. Then you've got Storm versus basically Jean and Cyclops, but it's mostly Cyclops because Jean's dealing with just telling Nightcrawler, you gotta get over to Xavier. She's watching Xavier the whole time. I don't know if she was trying to help him fight it off. That would have been interesting if that's what she was doing, but it looked like she's just watching what's happening to Xavier. And then, let's see what's going on. What I found interesting is he's got this special pyramid he can make himself. I assumed it was the chick at the start that was helping make the transfer go, but apparently it's just the entire complex that does it. He's able to make the complex himself. So 30,000 years ago, did he just make them make the pyramid? Because if he made the pyramid himself, obviously they wouldn't be able to beat him the way they beat him at the start of the movie. So he had to just force him to do it, which is a total dick move on Apocalypse's part, but he's a dick anyway. But, yeah, Storm does a little bit. She makes it windy. She makes it windy. That's all she really does. She just makes it a bit windy. And then they do something to knock her off. Oh, yeah. Cyclops shoots at her, and then they throw the car at her, and then Psylocke cuts it in half, and then it's Cyclops shooting at her a bit, but never really hitting her, and she's doing a little bit. Not a lot really happened with him. No, this is the thing, is just maybe a little bit more to the fighting. I don't know. There just wasn't a lot of action, which is probably too bad. And then, of course, we get to, well, Apocalypse didn't succeed. He doesn't get Xavier. Plane goes down. Magneto's like, are they all dead? Crap, they're all dead. And you figure he just feels bad about that everyone's gone. And he just feels bad about it. He's like, do I really want to destroy everyone? Do I really want to just kill everyone on the planet? And that is a personal battle for him, and then it just gets resolved, which maybe people don't think is good enough, but that's a hard decision, and he just comes up with his answer after everything that's happened. That entire fight with Apocalypse I like because it's so many people taking him on. Quicksilver shows up, beats the crowd of Apocalypse for a little bit, which looked really cool until Apocalypse stopped him. Like, he stops Quicksilver, breaks his leg, which is ouch, but that's kind of the way to stop Quicksilver. And then Psylocke shows up and then cuts his head. Does not kill Apocalypse, because Apocalypse has healing factor. And it's freaking Mystique. And then you've got Xavier going like, I want to surrender to save Raven because, she is very important to him. And he's willing to give up to for her. But they're like, no, if you do that, we're all screwed. He's like, damn it. And he's like, wait, I could fight Apocalypse in a head battle, so he does that, which is awesome. We finally get like Xavier doing a fight, and it's interesting how he does the fight. It's in the head. He's like, "You want to feel my power? Here, feel it." He gives him all the voices of the world, and he starts punching him like crazy, which is great. And then Apocalypse is Apocalypse, and he overpowers Xavier. Unfortunately, what's interesting is Apocalypse is able to be in his head and fight while fighting on the outside. Because then Magneto's like, puts the big X, which is cool. He's like, no, I messed up. Yeah, I don't want to destroy everyone in it. I don't want to destroy the entire planet worth of people. I don't want to do that much of a dick move. And then he just starts launching everything at freaking Apocalypse, which is great. That's really cool right there. Everything's getting launched at him. It's not enough to stop him. Cyclops gets in there, shoots his thing off. What was great about that is that it just bounces off first. He's like, crap, well, that didn't work out. And then he plants himself and does it better, shooting at Apocalypse. Beast gets knocked out, because of course Beast is going to get knocked out. Unfortunately for Beast, he's physical, and physical ain't going to work in this kind of fight. And so he gets knocked back. And of course, Xavier he's getting wrecked, and he's just bleeding on the ground. He's stepped on. And again, nice acting from McAvoy right there when he's on the ground with the blood coming out of his mouth and just going, Jean, I kind of need you to go nuts. Just go nuts. Go nuts, Jean. Go crazy. Let loose. Get crazy here. We need you here. And she does it. And that was a pretty well shot scene. Her walking forward in the sky and unleashing the Phoenix. Scares the crap out of freaking Apocalypse. I do not remember what Apocalypse says. I think he said an omen or another omen. He says something about the Phoenix before he gets destroyed by literally everyone there. Magneto finally holds him down with the metal. Cyclops is shooting at him. I think he just gets melted by a Phoenix, who, luckily, she can control where the fire goes, because if she couldn't, everyone was literally dead around her. And he's gone. And the only one surviving is Psylocke. She just looks angry and just walks off. And Storm's like, I'm with you guys. Oh yeah, Storm also shooting lightning on Apocalypse. I was like, okay, good, she changed over. Because who's her hero? Freaking Mystique. Mystique's the hero to everybody. So, with the Mockingjay on their side again. With the Mockingjay on their side, freaking District 8, District 10, Storm just like, okay, yeah, I'm putting lightning down to help out. And that's what happens there. And bam, it took combined effort to beat Apocalypse. That's what I liked. It took everyone to beat Apocalypse, because it should take everyone to beat Apocalypse. If any of them singularly beat him, it probably wouldn't have been as good. But since everyone combined beats him, it's a pretty good scene. I forgot mentioning the Nightcrawler scene where he's trying to just send everyone out at once, and he's just switching bodies. That was pretty cool. And then, of course, he gets there, and then he breaks the mood when he wakes up. And that's everything, for the most part. At the end of the whole thing, of course, you got Magneto's like, no, I'm not going to stay here. And like, come on, I'll make you a teacher, man. I'll make you a teacher. Like, I kind of wish Xavier says, like, look, I'll make you a teacher. You can teach them too. We can make a better way here. And it's the whole thing about the optimism of Xavier. Like, Xavier believes that they can maybe pull it off. I think the problem is that it took way too many wake-up calls for him to go like, okay, we need a team of people to help out in the mutant cause. And of course you have Beast who's like, yeah, we need to be prepared. And he was preparing, and now they are preparing. And it looks like he's full-on accepted just being Beast again. And now they have Mystique with them. And I thought the end was cool. It was like, okay, we're going to fight Sentinels to practice. Like, all right. They're fighting Sentinels. Because like, oh, they're in the danger room. That's pretty cool. They got a danger room. And now they're training to fight. And that would be a thing is, learning how to fight is part of learning to control their powers. So that's useful. That's definitely useful. Also, in case of the planet does go racist. And of course, the planet, replenishes their nuclear weapons, which must have been a pain in the ass for the world to do. And yeah, they need to, considering just all the things that they have to deal with. But nuclear weapons are just going to screw us all over, so I don't know how that's going to work out. Also, I guess they all forgot about it. Freaking, if you nuked Shaw, who's dead now, he could contain the whole thing. There's got to be more people than just freaking Shaw who can contain or control the nukes. Also, I don't think, unless they know how to get those helmets or something, just getting nukes again ain't going to help them because, well, Xavier can just do what Apocalypse did. So there's that. I did a quick rundown of the movie. Quick rundown of the characters again. Jean, for all of her parts, pretty good for her. Sansa from Game of Thrones. I can't remember her actual name. She did a good job. Probably because part of it was just be Sansa with mutant powers, because she's being scared and not happy a lot, and that's Sansa for sure. And then she's like, be Jean and just go crazy. Like, oh, she got that too. Didn't have to do too much acting, and she did a good job in what she was doing. Cyclops did a good job in what he was doing. I just like that they were used sparingly, because they're not there yet. But at the same time, it's like, it does feel like everyone was underutilized, except for the big players. I feel like Mystique was utilized very well. Xavier was utilized very well. Magneto was definitely utilized very well. Apocalypse did a good amount. But everyone else was just there for a little bit. Quicksilver was utilized very well. I feel like they didn't do too much or too little with him. They did just the right amount with him. He was a very fun character to have for sure. Beast was used pretty well as well. I don't know. I do feel like some of the characters could have been utilized better in that movie and explored a little bit more. But for what it is, the movie was pretty good. I think it was a good movie. Rating it, because people like ratings, I don't know, 7, 8? Maybe 7. Maybe 7 or 8. Civil War, I'd give it a 9 or a 10. Batman vs. Superman, I'd give it a solid 5. Maybe a 6. But, here's a thing. I don't feel like you should, as the big movies, you can compare them, but as in the same kind of subject matter, you cannot compare X-Men to Civil War or Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman and Civil War are both supposed to be battles of ideologies and just two different sides going at it. Batman is this vigilante, he's a bit unhinged, and he does things his way. Superman does things his way. It should have been a fight between them over just some sort of ideological thing. Like, just have them believing both sides are right, and then there's the fight there. Like, maybe it should have just more so been maybe Batman and Lex Luthor working together. Talking about Batman vs. Superman again. Just better motivation for why they hated each other or why they want to fight each other should have been established there. We just get a little bit, and it just isn't good enough. And the fight's really cool, but it just wasn't good enough ideology there. That's a fight between superheroes. That superheroes fighting. That is a battle that was supposed to be about ideologies. Civil War is a lot of superheroes fighting each other. Really, really cool fighting sequences happening. And this is a battle of ideologies. Captain America's ideology and Iron Man's ideologies clashing. Pretty good fights, very good movie. X-Men is not a superhero movie. It is an X-Men movie. And it is not superheroes fighting. I got in an argument on Twitter over this. That's why I'm bringing it up, because this was a stupid argument to me. It's not a fight between superheroes. Storm is a hero, not yet. Archangel's a hero, not yet. In this version of things, they are nobody right now. They are simply horsemen of the apocalypse. That's all they are. They're not heroes. Storm redeems herself at the end, but she's not a hero yet. She's working on it. Archangel was a hero, not at all. he just dies. He's just a villain that gets killed. Apocalypse, villain that gets killed. Magneto is a hero on his side, but he's never really been a hero ever. He's always been this villain that will work with Xavier when the mutants are threatened. When the mutants are threatened, Magneto will work with Xavier. When humans are threatened, he don't give a shit. In this movie, he does, because he cares about everyone. He cares about his friends. It might only be he cares about his friends. Maybe he doesn't actually care about the planet. He only cares about his friends. And that's what he did. He saved them also because it would be everyone enslaved to Apocalypse. He's like, yeah, I'm not cool with that. And then Psylocke is just there. I think she's a villain, but she's more of a wildcard mercenary villain kind of thing going on there. So this was a fight between heroes and villains. This is not a fight between heroes. That is the key difference here. And anyone who says this was a fight between heroes is nuts. And because you are, if you think that, I will just tell you that right now. This isn't a fight between heroes. This is a fight between good and evil. That's what it is. Or misguided people. Good and evil and the misguided. That's the fight going on in X-Men. X-Men has never been a superhero movie kind of thing going on here. It's always been a lot of things going on because Magneto has always been in the fold. It is people with different motivations in the X-Men. You have Xavier believing in the greater good, but you have Magneto who does not. He tries to because Xavier is his best friend as far as we can tell, or at least a good friend. And so he tries, but they keep getting screwed over by the humans, so he goes like, no, I am not okay with that. I'm going to start killing some people. While Xavier's like, they're just misguided. They don't understand. And then you have Mystique in the middle just going like, well, both sides are right here and there for different reasons. I want to believe in Xavier's world, but Magneto's probably the one that's right, is the way she usually is about things. And then Beast is a bit like that too. He's like, I want to believe in Xavier's thing, and I want to prepare us to make that happen. In case it doesn't happen, prepare us for that. So we get like the main older characters, their motivations are very clearly put out and what they're doing. A lot of characters' motivations are put out very well, but some of them aren't as complex as others. And that's what X-Men has always been, though, is X-Men has always been like, there's racism going on in here. There are powers at play going on, but it's not just a bunch of superheroes. It's powered people doing their thing, and then there's powered villains as well doing their thing. Or it's the government attacking them or doing stuff to them. There's always some sort of plot going on with the mutants, but it is not a superhero movie, in my opinion, and how things go, and it definitely was not a fight between superheroes. It was a fight between superpowered people. One side was heroes, one side was not. I just don't see how you could possibly compare X-Men's newest movie, Apocalypse, to Civil War or Batman vs. Superman. I just don't see how you can, because there's a clear difference between them. Batman vs. Superman and Civil War can be compared, because they are heroes fighting it out, and they have different ideas of how things should be going, and they do their fighting. X-Men Apocalypse? This is not an ideological thing. This is, when it's Xavier and Magneto, it's ideologies fighting. That is not this movie. This is save the freaking planet. That's what it is. That is not an ideological fight. That is, unless you want to consider Apocalypse wanting to rule the world in ideology, and everyone else not being ideology as well, you can go with that if you want. But it's very different. This is just save the freaking planet. Because it was about to get screwed. X-Men would be more of a Avengers kind of movie comparison if you want, where they're just saving the planet from a villain. That's really what it is. But I just don't think you can compare to 3 direct like that. You can compare to 3 as movies, but you can't compare to 3 in the same subject matter, because they're dealing with different subject matter. I think Civil War and Batman vs. Superman were closer to that subject matter, while X-Men are over here doing something else. And if the new Spider-Man movie came out this year, people would want to compare it as well, but it would not be a good comparison as themes, but it'd be a good comparison of how superhero movies are coming along. It'd work for that, because Doctor Strange is coming. People can make that comparison if they want, as far as how good a movie it is, but I don't think you could make a comparison of themes, I think is the best way to put it. And that was quite a talk, shorter than the other 2 talks on Batman vs. Superman and on Civil War, probably because I know the subject matters better as far as X-Men go. I only know Wolverine and Cable and Deadpool and the old cartoon for X-Men and then the new class X-Men, but I haven't watched the newer stuff with X-Men. Like Wolverine and X-Men, never watched that, never seen it, have not read the comics in a long time. The last X-Men comics I read was probably House of M and how they dealt with things in World War Hulk and Civil War. That's it. I have not really been following X-Men in a long time. So whatever's been going on with that, I don't know. All of my knowledge comes from the 90s and maybe 2000s in a bit. So that's where I come from with that. At the end of the day, though, good movie. I'm curious where they're going to go next because, well, the Phoenix is going to come up at some point. If they're going to continue down this timeline, which they are, it looks like, then we're going to see the Phoenix arise. And the question is, are they going to do more of the younger generation, or are they going to skip back to the future with Patrick Stewart, or are they completely done with that, and we're going to see McAvoy as Xavier? What's going to happen? I have no idea. Because I think both Xaviers have been really good, and both Magnetos have been really good. They've been really good actors for those characters. And then Hugh Jackman's been Hugh Jackman as Wolverine the whole damn time, because he can be. So I am just curious where they're going to go, because certain characters in the older movies were really good at their characters, and certain characters in new movies are really good at their characters. So I'm just curious what they're going to try to do. And I'm going to assume probably whole hog they're just going to do the new characters, which is fine. It's definitely fine with me. I think everyone's just done a good job with these movies for the most part. That's everything for the spoiler talk. I want to know what you guys think, what your thoughts are in the comments, and I'll comment back, because I'm curious if you guys think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't a very good movie. Or maybe it's a better movie than I'm giving it credit for. Since I said it was only like maybe a 7 or an 8, maybe you think it's a 10. I don't know. You can also argue about Batman vs. Superman if you want. I still think I'm right on Batman vs. Superman. I felt like it could have been a better movie. And you can argue if you think Civil War isn't as good as X-Men or isn't as good as Batman vs. Superman. I'm really curious what people think now that we've got another movie out. I can't help but share my thoughts on those because, well, they came out this year as well. Civil War is the big winner for me, though. There you go. That right there is the spoiler talk for X-Men Apocalypse and comparisons and other thoughts going on there. And, well, I had fun talking. I had fun watching. Well, listening, because you had to see my mug the whole time, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun listening to me talk on this one. Should probably do a different outro for this, but I did have fun talking about this. I hope you had fun listening to me talk about this subject, man, and I hope you have some comments about it as well, what you think. Because conversation's a fun thing to have, right? We don't need to, it doesn't have to be one way, you know? So you can talk in the comments, and we can see what you guys think, but there you go. That's me talking. Hope you had fun listening. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.